It's Duck. Let's go ahead and go live. Yeah. And yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to just kind of hang out, kind of hear from you guys, hear from you walls. Hey, you guys. Hey, yous all. Hey, yous all. And talking about looking for better, all the things we can do. Oops. This needs to get plugged in. All the things we need to do when we're looking for the same and looking for better. It's an interesting sort of paradox, where it seems to me so many times when we look for better, we lose so much of the stuff that kept us the same in the first place. In politics, it might be like a little bit conservative. It could be this, could be that, could be a lot of different things, to be totally honest. But who's to say? Who's to say? And yeah. Hey, David Thompson. The worst advice comes from strangers telling you what to do. Hey, great point. And yeah, it looks like there's some pain behind that one from David Thompson in chat. Yeah, man, I've heard that stuff before. We still got roofers here, by the way. So if you're here tapping or click-clacking, that's going to be the roofers. Yeah, strangers telling people what to do, strangers giving advice, advice meant for someone else that lands with you. These are all like kind of strong points. They can all be sort of strong points, for that balance that it takes a village for us to be happy. It takes a village, to do anything. And then we also are left with ourselves. So, there's old sayings like find the helpers. There's old sayings like find the helpers, find people that want to be helpful. Finding ways that we can embody that sort of reflectiveness of altruism and things like that, really useful. The worst input comes from people who have the option to do better, just not the wherewithal. Yeah. Yeah, figuring out, if it takes an arm and a leg, just what I've been thinking about, advice for others. If it takes an arm and a leg to do something, people, you got to have the arm and the leg and then be willing to, and then willing to. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I had the wherewithal to get ready today. I'm wearing this is backwards, but it's my USA shirt. I've got the fluff in the hair. Good morning. Good morning to you. Hopefully you're doing good. Good morning and good afternoon. Okay. I guess we got to restart the second stream machine. Restart the second stream machine. Rain has halted your harvesting. Oh, cool. Well, hello. Hopefully your harvesting's going well. There's harvesting, and whatever it is that you're eating is good. Good, 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 good. I didn't see all the correspondence dinner. If you guys aren't in the US, Donald Trump had the big press meeting correspondence thing going on recently. And it's a one time a year to honor like journalism, press, arts. And I didn't see all of it. I saw some of Donald Trump's remarks, and some of the people who won awards were anti-Trumpers. People that never wanted the president to be successful. So Why do I support Vladimir Putin? I don't. I wouldn't say I support or dissupport any one leader. Um, I think many people would say Vladimir Putin's claim to Ukraine is dependent on pure force. It's dependent on pure force and a principle that he and Donald Trump know can't be recognized, which is that somehow people can just be unified in some simple sense. Um, so that one of the reasons I would disagree with Vladimir Putin is based on that it's completely arbitrary and made up. It's completely arbitrary and made up. And so when we try to structure and understand the regional conflict between Slavic states, starting with the 2014 invasion of Crimea, it's difficult to imagine that what results is that there's going to be a forever war, a 10 to 15-year war based on buying more weapons, based on people we've never met. People we've never met, we never have met, we never will meet, all this kind of stuff. Okay. He, him works for me. I'm a simple guy with simple needs, so he, him does fine for me here. Simple guy, simple needs does fine for me here. Hey, Crystal Jackson. Great to see you. Thanks so much for the quack quack. I appreciate it. Quack, quack, quack. Yeah, channels Ducks Y. We do politics stuff, but we can do religion, philosophy. I don't really care. Whatever. Hey, what's going on, Epic? Great to see you. Great to see you. We just chilling today. We big chilling, hanging out, hanging in there. Hanging out, hanging in there, man. Whichever side of the equation you're on. Can I tell a story? Yeah, go for it, Sleb. We're all here to be entertained. Do I support Trump? I wouldn't support Trump. I wouldn't support Trump. He's too nationalistic. I haven't voted for Trump in either election. And yeah. Oh, what? Right. We got a story about Sleb's phone breaking. Sleb has a phone that broke in chat. That's unfortunate. Has that ever happened to you? My phone just did a random restart yesterday, and I thought it was breaking. I thought it was not going to turn back on. That kind of freaked me out. You got to have a cool hundo to replace it. Oh, that's no good. That used to happen a lot more, right? Because websites that weren't like Yahoo and Google didn't have any antivirus sort of like properties to them in the open web. So back for people that are my age, like 36, 37, it was like huge sort of urban lore, also just common sense to not go to small websites. And it just so happened that included, don't click any ads. That was the state of the internet back in the 2000s. But I don't technically think that you can goon or whatever it is so hard that your computer breaks. Find a channel that talks politics and religion when most channels prefer not to. I'm not complaining by any means. Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, I prefer to have actual conversations about it and stuff too. And yeah, definitely. I mean, oh, word. Shout out to folks not in the US, Australia, European Union, all kinds of places. Shout out to you. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Asia, the Middle East, wherever. Yeah. So don't tell me one more story. Just like Trudeau. Just food for thought. Do I like Justin Trudeau? I don't really have a strong opinion on Canadian politicians. My understanding was Trudeau was a person who supported like labor policies through and through. And I think when we see what's his face, David something, Mark Carney. Yeah, Mark Carney. When we see Mark Carney sort of bringing in what appears to be like an almost more centrist, a central position that seems to just kind of plant down. The reason I wouldn't say centrist is it's not about the people as much, right? Look for better, look for a little better. I think Mark Carney in Canada is trying to plant down some sort of progressive, without going out too far, nothing radical or extreme. And in Canada, you know, that seems to be a winning line. It seems to be winning to remind Canadians that you can have just common sense policies. Yeah, in the closet. They're all shills. Yeah, cool. Cool. Hey, keep it down up there. I mean, he's... oh, he is? Katy Perry? Okay, cool. Do you like to speak Arabic? I'm watching from Yemen. Do I like... I don't... Salam alaikum. I don't speak Arabic, so I just know how to say hello. And that's about it. But shout out to you in Yemen. Yeah, Slub's first story, I didn't really know the point of it. I don't know if it was true even, so I don't know the point of the second story, but shout out to you as well. War all day. Yeah, that's how I was feeling yesterday. I was feeling that there was just massive amounts of stories that are reflecting off of or directly about war. And that's the world Donald Trump wanted to live in. He wanted these war stories to have a large footprint and not trace back to him. You know, we're going to keep hearing about problems about, you know, in countries where we pulled out of NGO agreements, international agreements. The U.S. basically took our foot off the gas. We took our foot off the gas. Yeah. And so there's a reason both conservatives and progressives in the United States may vote for a foreign policy that doesn't strive to be interventionist, but strives to be humanitarian. And Donald Trump, basically, he took this and said, well, we can just scatter it to the wind. It can just scatter the one big bucket or, you know, whatever. And this is what nationalism does. It says that, well, if it's not about our culture, you know, Charlie Kirk, some of the folks in the European Union who are leading these nationalist parties, these far right leaning parties, you know, they might take these approaches that if it's not about the small bucket of things that makes us American or French or whatever it is, then we have to throw it out. We have to get rid of it. And it just doesn't actually work. Hey, good to see you, Amine. $35, eternal salvation guaranteed to triple your money back. Yeah, I like the bargain. I'd want to vote more regularly for those types of bargains. Right to Bob Dobbs and his sub-genius. Most political stuff is a show. Very performative. Very performative. You know, the luxury item of political commentary, the luxury item of political speech, the luxury item of seeing the political products just work how they're supposed to. It shouldn't be that way, right? We shouldn't, in the US, we shouldn't see ICE. We shouldn't see ICE and immigration enforcement. We shouldn't see it producing these unpredictable results. And then seeing people tap dance on the grave of liberty, tap dance on the grave of things that made sense previously. You know, I asked, why do you support nationalists? I see this partially about culture and partially about education. You know, if you have a culture where you're accepting that your tax dollars in any government go to things that you just don't know what it's going to do, right? That's a cultural problem. The cultural problem isn't that we're not recognizing our identity. The cultural problem is that identity is making you blind to the cultural problem. And then it's also about education. What do people actually learn? How do they learn it when things scatter to the wind? I don't know. Do I want to do a video collab? Hey, what's up, YouTube? Cool Fox King. I don't know. Oh my gosh, we got Muffin Cruz and Steve sending the amazing Fly Eagle. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Very charitable. I appreciate it. Thanks. The beard is correct. Yeah. Not like we have a choice of where we're gonna go and tax money is gonna go. Um, yeah. Yeah, definitely not. But you should, right? We should see that there's always some loose cannons in Congress. Even as a progressive, AOC was one of these loose cannons, quote unquote, where you didn't know exactly what she was going to propose or why or what it was meant to do, what it was going to cost, and for whom. But she never went beyond the Constitution. She was a loose cannon in that she was unpredictable. And so she's a U.S. politician, of course, in New York City. Very famous now. She's one of very famous AOC politicians. Oh, thanks so much. Huge flower coming in. I love flowers. Both sides were gonna stiff us anyway, and so we get to this point. We get to this sort of point where, I don't know. To me it's like, okay, you just can't move forward when the world outside gets outside gets too chaotic and the things inside should be working well, but they're not working well enough for how chaotic the world is. What happens to politics then? Well, you kind of give it away to leaders that can inspire confidence. Nobody's going to solve that problem. You're not going to have your local union leader. You're not going to have some junior House rep who's actually ready with a solution, who's ready to see it out for 4 years or 6 years or 2 years. You're not going to see any of these junior politicians solve the problem, and the old politicians, they're not going to get off the couch. And it's just one of those things where when we show support to leaders who are actually looking at what's realistic and not using that as an excuse, you end up talking about what's going on outside. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. They work together to destroy natural born citizens. Hey, Chiku727 says, have you ever thought to throw itching powder at an armless guy? I wouldn't do that. Yeah, whoa. I wouldn't do that. Way to attack a real weakness. Way to attack a real weakness on somebody. I wouldn't do that. I'd look for better. It's really a unit party. Kajri says it's a unit party. I don't know what that means to say it's a unit party, but shout out to you. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Both sides were gonna stiff us anyways. The British have lost the UK because they don't want to be called racist, so now they're Islamic. Yeah, that's a little, to me, that's a little bit too far into the territory of using what's already maybe not that strong of a definition of the UK, which is like super historical, super cultural, and it's taking this to not mean the values that are easily represented in any poll, easily sort of limited by just who we've seen serving in the house in their House of Commons and House of Lords. But it's taking it to mean that you can redefine the UK based on like Islam, right? To me, it's just not that scary of a big thing. And I think it's difficult to study. I dropped my pocket. Oh, okay, cool. The unions abandoned the Democrats. They voted for Trump, but the union leaders were still under the power of the Democrats. I don't totally see it that way. I think there's unions that are seeing a time where there's more support for progressives, more support for democratic socialism, and the fact that some people, I don't know what this is based on, but I think the unions are still right in there fighting the fight, understanding that if they don't do that, they're going to get bowled over by something or another. On any given years, you can have a politician who makes things worse for the middle class, for the working class. On any given year, you remove that and you just presume that while even people worse off than you are going to get even more worse off, and somehow the rest of the political system's going to work. It's not Chicken Little. It is Chicken Little. It's Chicken Little because that's when the billionaires' money starts working for you. That's when the big money for energy, oil, all that stuff starts working for you. Real issues, folks. Yeah. I meant it was a uniparty. How do I cope with my problems? Man, I think I would just hope a wellness to people, wellness and things like this. Somebody at the beginning of chat said random strangers giving you advice is one of the worst things ever. So I don't know if I actually want to give advice. But yeah, filling a day with a little bit of joy. For some people it's being able to put on a television show or watch something they enjoy. And that's it. Yeah. That's it. And within that sort of structure, maybe it's not the right way to do things, but within that structure, there's, I think, time. I could be totally wrong about this, but time to work on myself, time to hit the gym, time to this is a hit the gym thing. This is a not deciding, not settling on something, but not settling, hit the gym. Party hat, let's go. I like to party. No, all those types of things. So the police handcuffed somebody. Eclipse is 12. Henry Novick in England. We left a pub. He was 18 years old and Islamic and saw him stabbed 5 times. Thanks so much for the gold coin. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. The police handcuffed Henry and let him die. Yeah, those types of stories really are really damaging to the community. So there's a sense of justice called restorative justice. And you ask when you hear a story like Henry's story, if this is a true story, just because I haven't seen it. But you wonder how this impacts parents. You wonder how this impacts other people of that age. Thank you guys so much. Let me go dab on down and get some of that stuff. I appreciate it. I would always be curious about someone like Henry Novick being able to have his story told. And so you're saying, yeah, but this is the thing is I thought you were talking about the police killing him in custody. That's the US context or something. Is it the case? Is it actually the case that we're misattributing causes to saying that this person that killed him was represented by all of Islamic, and so all of a person descriptions is something that happens in political extremism once you've been radicalized, right? It's all of the West, Osama bin Laden would say it's all the West. It's George Bush, right? These are radical. These are already radical beliefs to not be able to see someone's intentions. Sometimes they are just as bad as you think, but that doesn't mean that all of the person is bad. It means you just didn't see all of their intentions and planning. So, yeah. Are you in the closet? I am in a closet. Yeah. There's lots of stories like that. I hear this every day, and it's never the case that people can actually get into specifics. It's never the case that it's attached or tied. It happened someplace, but it happened nowhere. It happened to this person, but it didn't happen to other people. So, how are you? Oh, I'm good. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, everybody's welcome here. We've got folks from Turkey that regular the channel. It's really great to see you. I love getting to see some of you every single day. I'm excited to hang out and stuff like that. You guys know me. I'm a very chill guy. So it's cool to see people and be a chill guy. Be relaxed. I like being relaxed. I like hanging out. And so, I'm a chill guy. I'm a chill person. Let's not forget how perception is built through exposure. Yeah. At some point you have to ask the question that We saw identity lead to the 30-year war in Europe. People have heard this before. We saw people squabbling. Something that didn't solve the problem was cuius regio, which was again giving over religious and identity control to whoever wrote the law, whoever's land it was. So you couldn't do religious incursions in Europe, and that didn't happen. This occurred before the 30-year war, and then afterwards we still see the 30-year war. So unifying identity at some point has to answer for its crimes. The fact that it takes a long time for identity politics to sometimes feel that rhythm and get into the move where it can do what it needs to do is disrespectful. It's disrespectful and it's mean. Hey, Jason, I'm just chilling in the closet. I like being hopefully a positive, chill guy. I'm a positive, chill guy. Yeah, I'm there, but I hear about it more often. Let's not forget how perception is built through exposure. Oh, I already read that comment. How are all of you today? Hopefully everybody here is doing good. Good is the best answer. And if you're not doing good, then also, hey, good. We're here for you. We're here for it. From Hanta, causing problems and overthrown. Cool, you've got that caveman spirit, caveman vibe. Yeah, tribal forces in a society are pretty far off when we see tweets and things coming from Turning Point, coming from smartphones. So you have far-right movements that are based on tribalism, not organized by cave people. I mean, it's got to be something. I don't know what that means, Sammy. Hey, Brentley, great to see you. Shout out to you. I love your answers. They're rational, but sometimes they're not. I love you anyways. Hey, thank you. I'm trying to have a mind about both reason and how people see it and how I see it myself, even when I fall short. I'm kind of a gross person. Long live the People's Republic of China. Long live the People's Republic of China. Cool. Yeah. I think we can be peaceful people anywhere and not see every form of competition as zero sum and strive to make it actually be that way. Did you go off the rails? I didn't. I think I know what you mean. They're asking if I went off the rails with Charlie Kirk. I think I know what you mean. And while I was deeply opposed to Charlie's message, I had no problem not celebrating his death. I had no problem, offering a short eulogy as someone who does very, 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 very small political commentary on the internet. And I think that's the appropriate response. So I didn't have a problem with that. Yeah, Charlie Kirk was the leader of Turning Point USA. He was the founder and leader of Turning Point, which was a political action group in the United States. Hey, Sixth Sense Amelia. Shout out to you in New Zealand. Great to see you. Great to see you. Yeah. I love people when they do something, instead of judging them, I ask them why they choose to do it and what they've been through. Yeah, that's a very kind message. That's a very kind message. I think that's always nice. Giving people the benefit of the doubt sometimes means that we work on ourselves in order to understand another person as well. Instead of just arguing and looking for better, it's looking for better in ourselves to be more compassionate or understand that person. It's not a bad thing. Don't ignore my message, genius. I have trauma from these YouTube streets, so I ain't reading that message. Hey, Sean, good to see you. Shout out to you. What up? What up? What is a nationalist, please? Yeah, nationalists usually take, a lot of people, when we think of culture, will think of a football club, whoever it is, Liverpool FC or something. We might think of the movies, so Hollywood, New York Knicks in the US context. You'll think of big football clubs, food, things like this. Nationalists usually take history and culture and say, well, there is such a thing as a true New Zealander. There's a true Kiwi. There's a true Australian. Lots of Australia has a lot of it. There's a true Briton or a true American. And it's because of the history and culture that we come from and because of the identity itself. So I have to identify as an American in order to be a good American. So it's a very upright sense of things, but a lot sneaks in, right? A lot sneaks in that's not based on actual explanations about what the world is like. And so, yeah. So it's one of those odd things. I don't think we ever really find a better version of it. I have roofers here. We got roofers at the wherever I am, Michael. So there's roofers. So clang, clang. Hey, keep it down up there. Keep it down. No. Hey, I got no juice. I got no juice. So yeah, and so there's a lot of reasons people support nationalists. When we hear about culture, just the answers from the poll, culture might be because people, like, we've heard Donald Trump talk about Somalians. So he didn't like Somalians coming over to the United States. And so when he thinks about culture, like unions, he says, this isn't American. This isn't starting a business. This isn't putting food on the table for your family. This is making problems for other people. Yeah. So you're not allowed to use your freedom in the same way, is kind of how I think about it. Education, when we think about attacks on universities and higher education, this is also sort of a nationalist talking point. War, it's that others that are not true Americans, that are not true Kiwis, not true Aussies, whatever it is, they're not strong enough to defend the homeland, is what people will say. And then peace, there's always this almost vision or ideological state where, well, nobody wants to go to war with Americans, and that's partially because of fear and part of it because of love. People should love Americans, and people should also fear our response. So because of peace, the ends justify the means. We can use people as means to an end. So our actions are justified. Other people can be seen as cogs in the machine. And so that's one of the reasons I don't support nationalism personally. Yeah. It heals your soul when you sing it. Yeah, my soul is I ain't in the business of soul healing. I never have been. I'll give it a go. I have no intention of judging you, but judging from what you've described, I'd say it's the lonely man. Yeah. Almost High is right, too, that nationalism has often gotten lumped in with neoconservatism. But we can also look at pure nationalist policies that want to see like kinetic effects in the law. They want that to somehow that attitude or the person, the style of governance goes out to foreign relations as well. So a lot of like hawkish behavior. And yeah. Why should I love my own country when they ridicule me for being part German and part Mexican? When I don't speak Spanish, a little German, and don't look like either. Good question, Logan. Yeah, good question. Yeah, I am $10.99 an hour. Yeah, $30 an hour if it's gross. Yeah. Hey, I'm all about that. If you guys want to send small super chats, that's a way to support me as well. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Logan, you may be running into two things. You may be running into just in like a political science thinking about people who suffer persecution or are judged or feel otherized, right? You're allowed to feel. Obviously, so glad I'm giving you permission to feel. But yeah, part of it is identity politics, and part of it is just human nature, where humans have for thousands of years sought differences, and sometimes those differences irrationally can be a strength, a force, a positive good. And for some people, I hope they are. I hope some people recognize you and appreciate you if you do have a unique story to tell, or some aspects are the same, unique. and can recognize that. And then the other parts, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's time for other people to show some understanding and stuff alongside this. One of those tough growing up lessons as well. Sean says, "B, what up?" So one of those tough growing up lessons is that there's irrational ways we treat people unfairly. There's rational ways we can treat each other fairly, and irrational ways that we treat each other unfairly. And no one is better or worse than the other until we judge it, or in a Buddhist sense, become attached and make it so. If somebody's being treated unfairly at work, that sucks for that person, and it has nothing to do with, it doesn't change how much it sucks that some people have felt otherized and that there's injustice in their life because of what they look like, because of their own story, their identity, their background, when other people get that free and clear. All right, see ya. Have a great day. Take care. A nationalist is a person who strongly supports their own country and wants to be completely independent, or believes it's better than other countries. This idea puts the nations above its own. Yeah, like American exceptionalism. So here's just one more. American exceptionalism sometimes says the U.S. operates differently. There are unique characteristics because we're large geo, and things just work a little different here. And so that idea can be nationalism. Ideas like manifest destiny can and seem more nationalistic. Did in fact come from nationalism, and aren't exactly the same thing either. They're kind of like this, Cool, Mom Chillum. Thank you. Yeah, shout out to you. Yeah, we're an anti-racism. We're also a pro-inclusion or allyship, safe space sort of channel. So, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Hopefully you're doing well. I think I saw that Pretty High posted a nationalist answer up above. If anybody wants to go check that out. Right. I don't know if I'm not sure if this is a troll account, if these comments are meant to be trolling. I've heard people call these troll accounts. I'm not that good at the internet, so if you don't mind, maybe clarifying. Cool. Congratulations. Yeah. Hippocrates base says, "What's up?" How can I perform a 5x on your stream? I don't know what a 5x is. If you guys want to do the gem gifts, you guys can send a gift and then you can tap it 5 times and it'll do times 5. It's pretty fun. I donate to my favorite YouTubers as we're building the channel and stuff like that. Yeah, cool. Welcome. Everybody's welcome here as they are, and that for us builds a very strong culture and strong place where we can talk about some stuff that's either academic or evidence-based. Sometimes we can talk about a lot of different topics. Cool. Yeah, you're hanging out with us. Yeah, and again, everybody's welcome here as there are. There's lots of people who you're infatuated with me. Yeah, I understand infatuation is just sort of, I'm just a small person. I'm literally just a small person on the stream. And so that's who I am authentically. And thank you. Sending some big number, a number after which a certain number of those digits, I wouldn't even have to care about it. I don't care the currency. I don't care. I don't care the currency. I don't care what it is. That would be enough money for me to retire, I think. Is that the end goal for us to retire? I think people should ask themselves, what am I doing before judging someone else? It's easy to see others, but difficult to see yourself. Therefore, one should understand that belittling someone else is actually belittling oneself. It's a great point. It's a great point. We cut short our understanding mechanisms. And this happens. This is a weird thing because it helps us become more understanding, in my opinion, but it also causes us perhaps to exercise biases we previously had in the past more so. And so this is me not being like super woke, is understanding deeply. And maybe, yeah, I got bullied too much on YouTube, so I'm too masculine now. But so better understanding by not belittling ourselves, judging others, and also that just the other side is, whatever. But that's more like reading a book, right? People aren't books. People aren't like books. People are people. People can be infinitely more complex than even the longest book ever written is. People can be more complex than even the most infinitely complex AI algorithm is. So those things are all wild. Hey, thanks, YTM. Nationalism essentially should be natural born citizens having at least equal rights, because right now we don't. Yeah, there's when we think of positive freedoms, the way things like sanctuary cities are typically justified, is the case that the benefits first is not that severe. The fact that people sometimes have a temporary place to live, and the fact that these are people that normally can't work and produce and pay taxes on their own, just because of their either their immigration status or other responsibilities and things that they have. And so I personally don't mind paying for integration, because that's the problem it rolls up to. It comes from and boils down to integration, and also just sort of the supply to demand, the market of people movement. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. If you want to come back, I'm happy to. If someone is going through something, for any reason, I'm always happy to support it. And yeah, thank you for stopping by and contributing to the stream as well. If you'd like to. Should we define fascism? Am I a fascist? Am I a fascist on the channel? I feel like it. I really do. I get so nervous when someone comes in and I don't know what to say back to them, that I think I like, yeah, I don't know. I like stiffen up. It's so weird. Yeah. I just want to wear a multicolored coat all the time. I'm still obsessed. That's all I want to do, is just be able to chill, experience some joy. Yeah. I'm sick of chasing enlightenment. I want to tell the Buddha, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to tell the Buddha, hey, I'm done. I'm done with all of it. So here I am. I'm done with complexity. I want simple. I want simple. I just want to be able to sit and sit and sit here. And you tell me I can do that, and then I'll sit here. That's who I became. Yeah, I'll even tell the Buddha. I said, yeah, I'll tell the Buddha, I'll say, yeah, you can say I get to be 1,000 different ways. Do I have any hidden talents? I used to enjoy singing a little bit. But I don't really have too many hidden talents, Sora. Yeah. Steve telling me to grow up in the chat. I'm looking for better with simple, but yeah, there's always complexity too. Yeah, keep that hidden, bro. Oh, roasted. Boom, roasted. I can't juggle. I can't do much of any of that kind of stuff. I ain't that good at it. I ain't that good. I have aversions real to all the bad behaviors always. How do you even cross? Oh, if you're interested in politics, religion, or philosophy, but yeah, I've had bad periods of time with the algorithm where I'm getting stuff that I'm not all that interested in, and I understand it. It's good to know what other people are interested in and things like this. But for me, I've made so many mistakes, retuning my algorithm, not retuning my algorithm. Yeah. Yeah, Steve's got it on lock, I think. You got the idea down. Yeah. Yeah, algorithms don't give you context for who they think you are or know you are most of the time. So, yeah, algorithms just make it 1,000 times worse for people that are only interested in a few topics. Um, just from a social science perspective, if you have finding a few good history channels like history documentaries is always interesting. And then a few podcasts that I've liked in the past. That's always kind of kept my algorithm more tuned. And then a couple of video games. If you guys like video games, it's very popular. I have a couple of video games that I watch sometimes. So these are things that keep my algorithm a little more tuned. Yeah, and the other thing is forums. There's very focused forums on sites like Reddit, on Twitter. So there's good ways to effectively use the internet, and some people have to be able to do that. Some people have to, but then there's also big channels and stuff that are just fun to hang out on. Some of my favorite streamers have between uh between I'd say 25 and over 500,000 subscribers. So yeah, we've got about 2,000 on the channel. I appreciate y'all a lot. I'm trying to just kind of trying to be a cool guy. But yeah, those people are the ones that I really like to watch, and yeah, for good reasons. I hope and I think, you know, fix the beard. Yeah, yeah. If you guys if you guys send me an orange super chat, I'll go fix the beard right now. I'll fix the beard live on stream if you guys send me an orange super chat, and I'll come right back out. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my hair and beard, everything's magnificent, everything's good. Yeah, I'm a beautiful person. I'm a beautiful man. I'm a beautiful man. That's how I identify as a beautiful man. Bam. Who are we? We are younger, older. It's great. We are here. We're sharing respect. Great. You feel strong on yes, present case, but we're ready for a response. Okay, love the answer. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. I appreciate that. Who are who we are who we are. Younger, older. It's great. We Here, sharing respect. Great. You feel strong on present case, but get ready for response. Okay. Love the answer. Yeah. Awesome. That's an awesome statement. Thank you so much for the big $5 super chat. Appreciate it hugely. Hey, Vengeance. Great to see you. Free Palestine. Yeah. Shout out people needing some support or respect wherever you are. Top of the morning, top of the afternoon to you. Yeah, I'm not adding a ton of moderators right this second, but yeah. Yeah, I'm not adding a ton of moderators this second, so yeah. Yeah. Incrementalness, sometimes incrementalness without giving all of ourselves away to process improvement. Such a huge thing. I'm sure a lot of people make that mistake in their life, thinking that we're infinitely malleable or that there's infinite amount of joy we can achieve or joy we can bring to others by working on ourselves. And it's not always the case. Sometimes those things are limited. They depend on other people. They depend on ourselves. They depend on ourselves a lot. So yeah, great point. Doing laundry looks like hanging up clothes. Yeah, I'm just in the closet. I got we got orange here. Looks like hanging up clothes. Heck yeah. You should come out of the closet already, sir. Mr. McFly, I've heard absolutely as much as I can hear there. You've got a little bit of something in my voice. Cool, thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. In a nutshell. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. Shout out to you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big time American. I'm from Arizona. You know, some Americano, some Pueblo stuff. Trump 2028. Cool. Cool. Ask what Trump will deliver for you. And then ask if you would pay for those things outside of Trump delivering them for you. Maybe you are a good Trump supporter. You are a good Trump supporter. Are these things you would do in your own life for your own job if you had a choice to or not to? Trump is the best president ever. Yeah. You can buy a poster of Donald Trump, but this doesn't mean you'll necessarily support him. His approval rating, why is his approval rating down? It's many issues. It's many issues of Trump being the best president ever for some and not for others. And so maybe we do all still, instead of aspiring to build differences, we can see there's similarities between us as Donald Trump keeps going. Trump is the GOAT. Yeah, shout out to Trump. We saw him speak in Michigan yesterday, so that was a good speech. Trump supporters, go watch him. He wants you to tell me I'm a violent leftist again, an extremist Democrat. I didn't know I was any of those things, but that's what he was asking people to do. So, okay, cool. Hey, something we'll have in common is if you decide that's who you want to be, is criticizing other people and judging them, I'll be the person who's comfortable being judged. Speak freely. Hey, what's going on, Angela Maria? Great to see you. Hey, thanks for all those emojis. So can you open up on why I don't like him? I don't like that Trump treats people like they're political capital. Thanks so much for the huge heart. Thank you for the gift. I don't like Trump treating people like they're collateral or capital. it feels like he's holding how people I care about may be treated into the future as a hostage for him to accomplish some of his policy objectives. And he didn't need to do that. Donald Trump could have just gone through with his expanded ICE operations, expanded border operations. He could have expanded the FBI budget and done something that was less partisan than expanding ICE. And he chose not to do any of those things. He pumps up these statistics. He inflates them to having political and social value. And just to me, these are things that you can do without deciding that it's Trump's solution. Trump's solution for the people that he already is backing and trying to support. Why is America's place to bomb a foreign nation? Yeah, so shortening the pathway between some of these, shortening the path between what he wants to get done and what he is getting done, that maybe makes sense short term. Even if you're a conservative voter, I would think that what you're actually paying for with the sort of total cost should be taken into account then as well. I like firearms, capitalism, and family values, and I really do feel that way too. It's just my own bias still. Interesting questions, Aaron. So, we got Aaron back. Yee. I like firearms, capitalism, and family values. Hey, them's good. Them's some pretty good things. Them's conservative though. Them's ain't nationalist. Them's ain't too nationalist. You can have those things anywhere. Hey, them's some American things. Them's ain't nationalist things still. He's failed. He's given in to Israel. No, no, no. I would not want to. Very circuitous, very circuitous path or something like this. It seems like it when we know it costs millions of dollars to refuel in whether we're in Oman or Saudi Arabia or Jordan, it costs millions of dollars to refuel those planes. You got to refuel them planes, cost millions of dollars. You got to make sure you're not telling Vladimir Putin about it. You got to make sure you're not letting anybody know what you're doing. Cost millions of dollars. Yeah, what are you just gonna? We're gonna be for decades flying military planes around willy nilly. That doesn't sound like a great plan to me. Some military planes there. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, says the bee. Buzz, 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 says the bee. Still pretty upset at the top at the GOP abandoning the Second Amendment. Yeah. What do you guys, people that here that are not in the US, you guys may not know our affection or affinity for the Second Amendment, but it's pretty strong here. It's pretty strong. I'm gonna go see if I've got coffee left to pour. I will be right back. We'll see you guys in a second. We back. Woo. Man, I was gone long enough for the crew to get here. What up? What up? Yo, anyone else about to? Hey, Bubba. What up? Thank you, almost. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, acceptance is hard. Acceptance to me has at least these two layers somewhere where we can talk about accepting the context and then accepting it, meaning that Gnostically or how we are, our beingness is going to be in that context. And so, yeah, understanding people's context and then this is also important in social science or any academic area where understanding someone's context and then understanding what that actually says about the world according to them is also very important. Is someone rigidly applying theory? Are they not trying to rigidly apply theory and yet accidentally are anyways? Or is a theory asking for more, even if it's, once you do that, will you ever join the military? I won't say too much about it, but I have a disability, so I couldn't join. I would get turned down. If I'd have to lie on my application and they'd have to not find out. So, I would prefer. I tried to do AmeriCorps. I was like the oldest AmeriCorps applier. I was like 26 when I applied. And so, yeah. So, so I support civil service in a lot of different ways. And yeah, I think under a different administration, there's periods of time where someone would want to go do their 4 years in the military, learn a bunch, get some of their benefits and things like this from it. Cool. So that's how you guys want to do stuff. That's awesome, right? You're reinventing a wheel for it. Cool. Yeah, I'd follow Steve. I'd follow Steve on height and weight. Peace Corps is underrated. Yeah, Peace Corps is a lot of people. The Peace Corps program, I think it works alongside the United Nations and has but it has like Ivy League basic reputation. So like what is it, IIT or similar to like Harvard University or Oxford. These types of schools has the same prestige as the Peace Corps. Thema prestige. Thema prestigia. I follow your mama on OnlyFriends. Hey, shout out. Yeah, slide into the DMs on IG. Yeah, I didn't see Boss say anything. I didn't see Boss say anything that was inappropriate. Yeah. I can suggest to PBS or something to interview you. Yeah. Um, just like this. Just like this. Thoughts on Jon Jones? Great fighter, great career. Yeah. Great fighter, great career. So great athlete. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure Jon Jones inspired people in interviews, and I think that's the judge of a fighter's success is if they can, it's not the money they make or the titles they win, it's their impact on the community. And yeah, just like anything else, 90% of people who do MMA or wrestle or do jiu-jitsu don't need it. But the 10% that are doing it and it's a serious outlet or escape or a learning mechanism, a philosophy for them, those people probably need that a little bit more. And so I hope Jon Jones is happy with the impact he had on his career. Cool, cool. I should set up an email address before Discord. I can set up an email address on my channel for business inquiries. Favorite fighter? I'm not a big fight fan. I used to wrestle. And so I would say Khabib. Um, say Khabib. Yeah, one of those Dagestani boys because I used to wrestle. Um, what's his name? Ben Askren. Yeah, very sad. Ben Askren, he got a lot of hate and then he got really sick. He got really sick after fighting. Um, I'm reading he needs a lung. He needed a double lung transplant. Yeah, he got a staph infection which developed into pneumonia and destroyed both of his lungs. Wow. So as long as we have our health. Cool. Yeah. Learning the wrestling skills, right? You got to learn to practice technique, learn to not overstress your own body, and learn to not overstress your sparring partner's body, or nobody's going to want to train with you. Yeah. When people start training with others, that's when we make progress. Those types of sports and activities. Some people don't care. Um, you know, most people do care. When's the next crusade scheduled? The next crusade is scheduled whenever the Catholic Church and the diverse sects of Christianity decide it's crusading time. Yeah, the next time one of those unruly leaders or unruly nations looks at Europe and the US the wrong way. Yeah. And we have the wrong democracy working. Yeah. This is why it's so important to vote. It's so important to vote. It's so important to participate in partisanship because we don't want to see the US getting a bad reputation. We want to be able to push for the values we care about and insist on them, and also not develop sort of wrong perceptions about how we're going to go about and actually accomplish that. The worst kind of pain is hopelessness. Wow, what a powerful statement. Yeah. Hope is a very powerful thing. I never tried wrestling and I would, but my country doesn't know we're the best at wrestling. Yeah, hope your health is well wishes to everyone. Thoughts and prayers. Many thoughts and prayers, hopes and dreams, and all that kind of stuff. What up, Berserk? Shout out to you. Good to see you in the chat. What up? What up? Hey, Max Blood. Hello. Hello. How are you? This is a everybody's welcome channel. Yeah. This is an everybody's welcome here channel. So whatever misconceptions y'all got, leave them at the door if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I am. I wouldn't consider myself racist. I'd consider myself anti-racist. The opposite of that. Yeah, the opposite of that. Yeah. Let's see, we've got quotes to read. In my madness, I have found both safety and freedom, the freedom from loneliness and the safety from ever being understood, because once understood, someone can harm you. What? What? In my madness, I've found both safety and freedom, the freedom from loneliness and the safety from ever being understood, because once understood, someone can harm you. Wow. Nice little A-frame. Getting a girlfriend. I don't know how to do that, right? Relationships are complicated. What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ear and I'll sing you a song. I will try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get high with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get high with a little help from my friends. Do you need anybody? I want somebody to love. Yeah. Do you need anybody? I want somebody to love. Oh. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. My name is Duck. I'll be here all day. Welcome to the Duck Pond. Y'all can send small super chats. Y'all can send big super chats. We accept all kinds of donations. It's a lot of fun. Thank you all so much. You can see me get happy. Send a little something through. See what it does to a boy. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. I am of the earth. I am a person of the earth and of the earth. I'm baked on some good Sinsemilla. Yeah, Sublime's awesome. That Southern California area, they put out so much good music back in the day. Man. Place names. Yeah, Aaron's working 2 jobs and still sends some money. Aaron's got 4 jobs and still sends some money. Shout out to you. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you so much. This is for not banning anyone talking crap. Thanks. We got 3 huge Aussie bucks coming in. Thanks so much, Epic. Appreciate it. Very generous. That'll buy my next cup of coffee or an energy drink or something. Who knows? Something good. Something we all need. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. If you're interested in a girlfriend, try starting in a way that's not tiring and takes you far away. Good advice. Good advice. Laurel Canyon put out a lot of good music in the 1960s. Cool. You guys remember the Taylor Swift meme? Was it Taylor Swift or something? They asked you on TikTok what word you used, what word you heard. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no pressure, no stress. Y'all don't got a budget for me. I do appreciate it though, and y'all don't have to budget for me. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Hey, thanks, Ronnie. Appreciate it. Yeah. Hey, thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate it. That's hugely generous. Yeah. Yeah. I think if you guys like the channel and like the venue, I love receiving a bunch of little small donations. It doesn't add up to making me a millionaire or anything like that. And you guys know I'll be honest and tell you when it does. Really, I'll try my best to. And so I really appreciate it. And yeah, when folks can offer some bigger donations and stuff too, even a $5 donation is a bigger donation. That stuff goes really far for me. So thank you. I appreciate it all so much. And I'm just trying to be grateful out here for it. Yeah, big donation. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. I interview with professional fighters about the worst moment of their lives and how they got through it here on YouTube. Oh, wow. Hey, cool. The Other Side with Mike G. Yeah, that sounds like a worthwhile channel. Sounds like we were talking about supporting the people that do fighting and kind of have it, as part of their personality, their identity, the people that need it the most. That sounds like it's a great sort of effort. So good luck on that. Yeah. Hopefully you get whatever help and support you need growing that and getting that channel in front of the right people. Yeah, that's awesome. We're a small channel here. I talk about politics, philosophy, religion. We're kind of small. We've got 2,000 subscribers. Every day is a little different. We've got some folks that like spending some time here anytime we go live. And so really appreciate, everybody out there and stuff like that. Um, Yeah, well, reads Steve super chat again says sending it again. I'm working on a family tree, and no BS, no shit. People, the tree goes back to 141 BC. Wow. Great live duck. I'm real, sir. Respect, I do. Yeah, thank you so much, Steve. Appreciate it. Huge thank you. Huge thank you. And yeah, that's wild. Family trees back to 181 BC. That wasn't Pangea, but that was very early civilization. Very early civilization. Very cool to see something like that. Yeah. Hey, he got you, Steve. Cool. I got to get names. I got finalizing print. You look like my middle school social studies teacher. Oh, cool. Yeah, we do some social science on this channel. Not a ton of history and things like that, but we do a little bit. Um, remind you of someone. Cool. Awesome. My family tree goes back to 1922 when my family left Poland and Czechia. Oh, that's pretty cool. I haven't done that for my family yet, so I have to find out. That makes me nervous. I don't know why. It makes me a little scared. I dropped my pocket. yeah, if you guys can pick up my pocket, let me know. Let me know if I can pick up my pocket and things like this. I don't know how to do that. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. Yeah. Wide and varied topics. One of the reasons I like being here. Yeah, hopefully topics that land for wherever and however people are today. And yeah, that's one of the main goals. Speaking of varied topics, I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee, and I'll be right back. Yeah. Okay. We back, we back, we back. We are back, folks. What I miss? How do you make an octopus giggle? I don't know. Tentacles. Ha 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 ha. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Increased capital gains tax. So capital gains tax works in a simple way, or it did when I was aware of how it worked, is that if you make short-term investments, so you're doing things like day trading, it operates like income tax. So there is no capital gains tax. It's just taxed as income. Your capital gains is basically taxed as income. And then when you have longer term investments, so you can think of somebody who's this is a person or a bank account that is this person's able to put capital gains out for, they're able to make an investment that's going to happen over more than 12 months. So you want to invest $100,000 in the stock market for 12 months. Or you have a business that appreciates in value over 12 months. You don't just flip it. These are cases where it's only taxed at 15%. At 15%. And so the cheating side of this is that the part that progressives don't like is they can say, well, once you have enough capital, instead of working and having any income, you can always just have this 15% capital gains tax. And it's partially true. It is true that if you have liquidity, you can free up money from this source. You cannot dive into short-term capital gains taxes, which are going to be at your income bracket. You can dive instead into the long-term capital gains taxes. And so long-term capital gains can be seen as a way to avoid paying taxes, and one way that breaks or works around the progressive taxation system. I generally think we do want people investing. We do want people investing in capital producing things. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important to talk about, but I think things like minimum wage, corporate taxes are also just as interesting. I don't know. I should probably take a stronger line. I have to think about it. That's how I would answer, is I have to think about it more. 1% of the population pays 40% of the income tax. Yeah, they also make 40%, they make 25% of the money or 40% of the money or something. So, money doesn't actually get you anything. I wish we could be honest about that first. Money gets in the way of things. Money doesn't actually get you anything. You know, I'm out here begging on the internet and I still feel the same way. I wish I didn't have to. I just wish I didn't have to. Um, you know, taking those things seriously. I wish I didn't have to. What would I be doing instead? I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe the same thing. Maybe the same thing. I wake up wanting to talk to you guys, wanting to stream, all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff. I posted a short yesterday about social justice and just thinking about the actual people that higher capital gains tax would be helping are people no one else in society wants to help. Homeless, mental illness, addiction, all kinds of situations. So I think that it's worth it to, when we're talking about dignity and human experience, politically that's a stronger currency, a stronger good than in others. What did you say? Wish I like little spurts, you great duck, smart. I vote duck. Thank you so much, Steve. I'm gonna go ahead and drop a heart on that one. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, when you guys donate super chats, all that kind of stuff, man, it makes me want to work 10 times harder. Makes me want to keep doing what I'm doing and find ways to win. So they can all be addressed with logic and empirical data. If the two parties didn't split and just decry, the social progress is evil. Ukraine war. Oh yeah, as president, uh, no, we've seen that the how long it's dragged on. It appears that leaders of countries now believe they can just operate their wars anywhere they want, anywhere they can. And it hasn't always been this way. It's a lie, right? This is a lie that, a politician, a war hawkish president would say, well, we want to, the US says we want to be anywhere, anytime. And it's bluster. It's normally bluster. It's a bunch of planes. It's a bunch of bases, but nobody's intending to change something or do something. Why? It's expensive. It's expensive. It's self-centered. It's self-centered. And it doesn't actually have to do with values or what people in a democracy want. So the war in Ukraine is just another example of people, of oligarchs like Donald Trump, believing that they can just export violence, spend money without any response from people. They can do so without building the pot that the government works for the people. These are things that we believe anywhere. Anywhere in the world that you go with the government is going to believe this in some form. And so some form of government of the people and by the people or for the people, exists everywhere. And I don't see that when we go to war. I don't see any of that. Yeah. I mean, have we seen miracles happen in our own lives? Have we experienced supernatural things? Have we experienced feeling supported? Have we experienced the ordinary and the extraordinary? Not around these wars, right? Around these wars, we just see a bunch of crap that you would expect to spread out, keep spreading out. I told you yesterday I was afraid of talking about peace, and when I watched Donald Trump in Michigan, I felt that again. I felt that as the long-term effects of conflict keep spreading, I saw myself on this like I don't even know where I saw myself. At the bottom of a dog pile. The bottom of a dog pile, right? I'm not a victim. I'm going to be here talking about the only things I can talk about. I'm going to be playing the self-deception, I'm going to be playing my own disillusions about myself. I'm going to be playing the story about how I'm always going to be okay. I'm going to be playing the story about how nothing can hurt me. I'm going to be playing the story about how I'm an unstoppable force in my head. But inside, I'm going to feel like crap. I'm going to feel like there's people who don't stand up for peace and who don't ask. When we look at nonpartisanship, when we look at ways identity can either support or hurt, causes we care about, we want to feel that these are additive forces. We want to feel that the big conversations are being additive, and that they are inclusive as well. We don't split the difference when people other than ourselves are involved. Spoken like a true young man or something like that. But no. When we ask for less for ourselves, we buy space for those conversations. We buy space for the conversation that matters the most. Yeah. People come to take care of the meek. People come to take care of the meek, but we need men. We need society to take care of the meek. We need society. We don't need angels in the outfield taking care of the meek. We need those true spirits who are capable of supporting people. And what about, we never get justice for the environment. What about all these diesel emissions, the bombs that fall nowhere, the bombs that don't explode, the chemicals we dump into the land? There's all this bull crap that spins up when we start seeing human effects going elsewhere. It's more and more and more. It's not cheap. It's not superficial. It's not small. These are large things that in our own daily life, right? If I was walking around with a weed whacker beating down healthy rose bushes or something, you would think I'm not that nice of a person. You might think that this isn't someone. You can't just go kill something beautiful or living or alive that you haven't even considered or are unwilling to consider. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. And then we see the effects of these wars spreading out. We see governments needing to buy more weapons. We see people who can't afford the taxes. You have to now pay more, so you're buying stuff you wouldn't buy otherwise. We see all of this stuff spreading out, and it's okay. It's just a superficial economy. That's not political extremism. It's just wondering which parts we're going to hear about. Donald Trump wanted me to play the radical leftist. He wanted me to play a extremist Democrat. He said Democrats yesterday in his speech in Michigan, he said Democrats, the only reason that they're out there trying to cure the vote, to cure any voter registration is because they want to cheat. They want to cheat. I don't know what that even means. I don't know what that means. What I know what it means is that somebody wants to see we want to see the little the tally. We want to see the tally at the end of it of what these wars actually cost, the actual impact on the economy, the impact on the planet. That's not cheating. Those are just numbers and statistics. It's hard to believe. Oops. Getting a weird phone call in. So yeah, you guys can tell me where I'm wrong with some of this stuff. Yeah, let them cook. Hey, David Thompson, the Save America Act is about stopping everyone from cheating. That's the plan, right? That's the talking point. The Save America Act is about stopping Democrats from cheating, according to Donald Trump. I don't know what that means. I don't know how you're cheating by getting votes in. What exactly are people saying? You know, isn't it, couldn't we analyze or say what people are saying and say, well, this isn't cheating, this is just asking for political policies? I haven't made any point. What's my point? I think I did make a point. I'm not going to depersonalize or detach from the point that I know how the world works, and big things always leave a big wake, right? That would be my point, is small boats leave a big wake. Big boats leave an even bigger wake, right? If you've ever seen those ocean cruise liners, those things leave wakes for miles and miles and miles. You know, it doesn't, that's not how magnets work. I don't know. No clue. No clue. No clue. No clue. Build a space elevator. Let's build some space elevators. Why would a magnet work underwater? Why wouldn't a magnet work underwater? I've got no idea. Got no idea. Do magnets not work underwater? I thought they did. I thought, yeah, because it's the electromagnetic field. It's in physics. It's the physics. Distraction is a tool used by our enemies to conquer us. Yeah, small focus areas, right? Small focus areas, I think, is a cure to distraction, but it's also not necessarily the right one. One example is if I just say big oil, saying big oil might be like a sort of negative side point or something like this. Yeah, in reality, what we're talking about is that there are conglomerates, there are multinationals who, what that means is that you own drilling, you own refinement, you own distribution, ConocoPhillips, Shell. And then there's also, so you have an integrated business. So a cure for a distraction would be saying, well, what parts of this do we actually subsidize? What parts of the small regional energy companies, small producers, and the large conglomerates do we subsidize? Is there a topic? Is there bipartisanship that's possible, talking about the long-term energy security of the United States and just actually what's happening in these energy companies? Yeah, I would imagine that the Save America Act would get rushed through like we saw. Why wouldn't it? To play devil's advocate, if we saw ICE get buckets and buckets of money so fast, we saw buckets of money get pumped in, paid into ICE so quickly. Wanting to create this atmosphere of winning, this atmosphere of excitement, and willing to tell lies because of it. Yeah. Working together is always best. And there's a certain richness when we have a foundation in our ideas too. There's always a certain richness in our foundation for other people, for people. Yeah. Yeah. There is a richness there. I don't think so. Um, I think, I think Donald Trump wants as many cards up his sleeves as possible, as is possible. I think he knows that. I think he knows that it's only going to get worse as time goes on, and as people start considering the actual deleterious effects of running the country, running the country like it's a golf club or something. Just call it what it is. He's got his country club Rolodex making decisions and that he's supporting their ideas. He's saying, yeah, some of these, if these ideas are good enough for America, they're good enough for me for sure. Sounds good. Okay, Mr. President. We have the phenomena of nationalism. Yeah, that's a very accurate. It's a very good statement, I think. Yeah. The phenomenon of nationalism on social media and party politics, corporates even, seeing different social entities coming out as national. Cool. So far, 58 votes in the poll. 52% say they support nationalists because of culture. 9% say it's because of education. 17% say war, and 22% say peace. So there we go. Culture, culture, culture. How much have I earned today? Got about $20 on the stream. Yeah, huge. So very grateful for it. Yeah. Yep. Doing so. I'm still working to try to make this my full-time job. I would need to do about 2.5 streams a day like this to make that a reality, which some of it's possible, but I don't want to. You guys know I don't like going live. You guys know I'll end my lives. I hope you believe I'll end a live if I'm not really present. I'm not putting out value. It's, whatever. It's a place to hang out, but I want it to be also a little okay for people to say, hey, I didn't waste my time here. So, yeah. And again, just having diverse, we've had people from Australia and the US donate today. We get people from the UK donating. So that stuff is all super useful. And this is why when you guys make me believe, have hope, you guys give me hope when you guys send $1, $2, $5 super chats, when you send those bigger yellow and orange super chats, you give me hope because I see more people donating. And it's not about getting the big magenta, right? I can put up, maybe I'll put up the goal because I'm desperate. I'll shoot myself in the foot for later. I'll put up a big magenta goal or something like this. But you guys know, you guys may know what it looks like, whatever. We'll just put up one. Patriotism is a part of nationalism. Yes. Yeah, patriotism. I consider myself patriotic. I would say I'm patriotic. I'm wearing it's not perfectly clean, but I'm wearing a USA shirt right now. It says USA. Am I in the Trump cult? I didn't vote for Trump in either election. I think his policies are dangerous. They're not. I think it's unpredictable because there's not a ton of evidence. I don't think Trump is a conservative. I don't think Trump is a true conservative. And yeah, his understanding, I think he's a really smart person, probably. In reality, he's probably a really smart person, but bridging his understanding with others, I think, is too difficult. So I don't see, as much as I would love to see the president happy, I see him as difficult to support as a leader. You know, yeah. And one of the things that's problematic is the partisanship, the high level of partisanship. It becomes difficult to have an expectation that context is going to be shared year round. And American voters saying we don't have time to understand one another isn't a reason for the office of the president, for the executive, to give up on that, in my view. That there's always small things people can do. Donald Trump maybe's worked behind the scenes to try to do some of it, but it seems that the counterforces have been a lot larger. Didn't vote for him. My heart is going to spend the gas tax. Hey, Darius. Yeah, the gas increases, and you're talking about a gas tax. I don't know. Every day it seems like the price at the pump is different. And I think that in your face, it's kind of like social media when we see these wild headlines, not that wild, but we see headlines like the Tate brothers being arrested. These things are loud stories that are almost like must-watch TV, must-watch. And so when the price of gas is changing, this is like must-watch for mainstream America. And I think it distracts because there's nothing in nature, no law of nature that says watching the price of gas is going to change the price of gas. So it's a waste of time. Suspend the gas tax. See how much it is. So what this would effectively do would be, the federal tax is 18 cents a gallon. So we'd be talking about an 18 cents a gallon. So this would effectively spur demand and reduce revenue. It would spur demand. And I don't, either that or it would spur demand elsewhere if the supply and demand curve aren't at an equilibrium, meaning we're seeing that the price of gas is too inflated, and so people are making in some sense rational and irrational choices to try to correct that. Be something like that, right? So we would see total consumption go up to some extent, but it might not go up all the way to where it's supposed to be. And so I don't know if Donald Trump will actually suspend the gas tax. I think what would actually happen, though, is that it's going to cover up even worsening problems, covering up more imbalances, covering up some of these problems with savings rate, covering up problems where poor Americans are currently getting worse based on standards. And so a lot of tragic things. An octogenarian. Hey. The push for nationalism is only putting us closer to isolationism in reality. Other countries who were once our allies are now skeptical due to the narrative being pushed. Sure. Setting up someone like J.D. Vance to go do more unilaterally based on the United States goals or with only thin overlapping interest with other countries is kind of how I read that. So we can picture the UK becoming more like one thing we might look at is the UK posture towards the conflict. It was already pretty severe. The UK had issued a statement that most people, oh, thanks so much for the chili. We got a chili in chat. Thanks. The UK, this is months and months back, maybe March or April, said that they'd happily intervene in the Middle East if there's strikes on any British interests in the region from Iran. And so when we see a strong message like that, that there's just nothing in the current conflict, but everything's a phone call away. We might worry that someone like the United States would seek to loop Britain in, but not on issues that are like really important, like finding more enduring methods of peace, resolving long-term energy or shipping disputes, things that buy up space. So who knows? Maybe a little bit of this is Chicken Little, head on fire, but why not, right? Why not? Why doesn't like multipolarity or other forms of neorealism, why doesn't it ultimately devolve into just like this ugly form of realism? When the going gets tough, there's no tough to get going. It just doesn't work. Why support nationalism? I don't know. You'd have to answer that. You'd have to answer why support nationalism. Carol, guilty. Um, uh, yeah, so a reason to support nationalism or something. Um, I don't know why you're saying Carol is guilty. I don't know what the context of that is even, but hey, there you are. Um, um, why are you supporting nationalism? Um, one of the few reasons to support nationalism is that it does promote an agenda of isolation when it's sometimes, right? Sometimes, if the US can come up with solutions to energy crises and decreasing supply over time, um, that it can export, that would be a good thing. But it doesn't appear that that's what Donald Trump's going for, right? He's seeking to further nationalize outside of the United States borders in our hemisphere and outside of it. He's talked about giving Iran money back, but he's also talked about stealing resources. He's been in Azerbaijan, right? What does Azerbaijan do? They trade a lot of natural gas with Iran. And so saying that the US is involved in foreign energy trades, that it's not isolationist, is not really, for me, drawing on why someone might appear to be a nationalist or appear sometimes to be a nationalist. Beliefs aren't facts. Believing something doesn't make it true. Hey, that's a good point. Yeah. All right. I'm thinking about closing the stream down. If anybody wants to hit the goal, go grab another small cup of coffee. But no need today. Thank you for everyone for giving generously. I appreciate it hugely. You guys were very generous. We'll try to do another stream this afternoon or later tonight and see where that actually where that comes in. Enriching Saudi Arabia with nuclear energy is going to bite us in the butt. They're behind 9/11 and the murder of American journalists. They're very dangerous. Yeah, Saudi Arabia has a lot of leverage, and that's only going to increase with how much oil China depends on them for. So we would imagine that at the top end of that, Saudi Arabia is less limited, not more limited, and that even things like Dubai leaving OPEC, who may have different interests in Africa and stuff than China, we would imagine that these are countries that are attempting to build a little bit more internally, and in some sense decouple from the international system in some ways. So, yeah. Yeah, that decoupling effect, that's another word for, if you're studying nationalism, decoupling. Nationalism and isolationism may seek to decouple from the international system in some ways. And we could say, is this just what Donald Trump's doing? it's difficult to see how or why that is. You're putting Oman back on the map. You put Jordan back on the map. You put Saudi Arabia on the map. You put Syria back on the map. You are forcing stronger positions out of Europe. So these aren't things that maybe we would ordinarily not wish for. It's just strange to see how the strategy is supposed to work. Hey, Chester, good to see you. Demon rats are trying to cut healthcare funding for Israel. MAGA. Yeah, good for you. Good for you. One of the questions was, why do you support nationalists? Yeah, that was one of the questions. Only Trump can defend us from the woke. Hey, Foxbox. Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. It seems more made up than anything else. I think the line you are supposed to share, instead of sharing something like this back, the Bible says we have to support the nation of Israel. Yeah, so you're offering these alternatives to some view that I don't totally understand. I don't totally understand. I think into the future we can support Israel by not forcing Israel to be an active major superpower in the Middle East. That doesn't seem like that's what Donald Trump wants. And then when you voice hateful beliefs about groups of people that can't have the same types of group claims that you're allowed to have, or they are, but it seems like you're asking people to depersonalize what just seems like ordinary human relationships. Depersonalizing ordinary human relationships, I don't see that totally. I wish destruction upon America and Israel. Or finding, even more nefarious is finding these competitive reasons to go and decrease the level of support we have for causes or initiatives that we think are worthwhile, or for people that don't have traditional political and social representation, to the detriment of deeply held values. I don't think we should decohere our personality. We shouldn't decohere our identity in order to do identity politics, right? It's kind of self-defeating. If my authentically, I'm just anti-hatred and I can kind of stop there. I'm pro-peace when I can be, and I'm anti-hatred, and I find I can be those things 99.999% of the time or whatever. Those are good things. Those are good decisions to make, to me, decisions that are in line with that for me. So yeah. So I see it's just like a race-based account or something. Not just, everybody's welcome here and you're welcome as you are. Yeah. Everybody's welcome here, and so yeah, trying to cut healthcare funding for Israel. Yeah, that's a space elevator. Kind of, I guess. React says yeah, we should focusing on things like voting rights, focusing things on like who gets healthcare, focusing on where jobs are being created, focusing on where environmental disruption is happening, focusing on just like what's the normal type of person who gets to plan a vacation or something like this, focusing on who gets technology, who gets to use technology, who's benefiting the most from AI, focusing on detaching from the material circumstance and wondering what the system is like. These are all things that are really useful, I think, in my opinion. Yeah, really useful. And, you know, versus, I think it's useful when people are trying to change minds, but based on what? Based on something that is difficult to track down for people, and maybe that there's an incremental change that needs to happen, and if it's not incremental, it's a reframing that some people might find difficult. Being pro-Israel doesn't make you a Trump supporter. Trump wins. Hey, Grandy's Garden. Yeah, savings accounts are good ideas, but if mom and dad can't put food on the table, you and I know that it's not a good strategy to begin with. And we're already seeing that. So what are you going to tell? So Donald Trump told the first 100 million Americans how he was going to help them, and he made them be political. He made them excited about politics. What's he going to tell the next 100 million when he doesn't have anything? He's got these giant debts in the federal government that he can't pay off. He's got escalating conflicts that take the priority, and he's made more enemies or detractors, if you want to say, in the future. So I don't know that someone crying or their emotions is gonna come in. Mom doesn't need to contribute. I mean, I don't see a difference between male or woman or family roles and providers when we see that the economic data, I think you're trying to squeeze a big concept into like an economic modality, which is really difficult. It's not that difficult because you can predict and kind of see what's going to happen, but you don't necessarily need to. You wouldn't necessarily need to or have to. Mom can't talk the money, folks. Okay. Hey, Ahmed, what's your opinion on Colgate toothpaste, or do you prefer Oral-B? Both. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for stepping in. Let's go with Colgate. And let's also say that most parents, moms or dads, would care more about having access to dental care than something else. Yeah, Trump wins, NATO pays, and yeah, I mean, you're going for a lot there, and I don't think it's pulling it all up anymore. Libby's got nothing. Yeah, a lot of people aren't identifying as a Libby or something like this, right? That's a name. We're seeing people like Abigail Spanberger, I'd bring back up, that there's people that are trying to make understandable the context they see in the world without taking everything on at once. And so, yeah, if everything you're saying, Donald Trump ordered you to talk about how demon rats are cheaters. So I think the talking point you're supposed to be isn't about Libby's or whatever it is, wherever it's from. But if you're talking about your nationalist leaders, you're supposed to be talking about cheaters again. Not just conservative values that people would accept, not partisanship alongside conservative values, and however you see that. Yeah, revamping foster care. Absolutely. Yep. So I wouldn't trust Donald Trump to do that. Donald Trump paid ICE agents $50,000, and they were joking over text messages about violence against civilians. They disobeyed court orders on Donald Trump's watch. So, all right, I think you're spamming. I don't know. One thing they like about President Trump, or will liberals. So you're still talking about the same term. So I think it's becoming a little spammy at this point. Again, one of the things is there a cult or groupthink well, you're putting down something pretty large. You're putting down something pretty large. You'll be back in 10 seconds, by the way. But you're putting down something pretty large for someone to cognitively recognize that, just like when you talk to the most ardent Trump supporter, would I say it's a cult? I wouldn't say that, right? I wouldn't use that language personally. Host can't engage MAGA. Haha, coward. Okay, yeah. If you want to understand America, I would ask where you would go. I would ask you, if you want to engage, tell me something true about America. Tell me something true about the United States. Yeah. And letting other people speak, asking questions, all types of things, right? All types of things. Tell me something true about America. Trump's bad, but progressives have infiltrated the Democratic Party and are going to ruin the country. All right, give me 1 second. We're gonna move the stream over from our losing engagement to maybe a winning one. Maybe a winning one. Let's see if I can do this. Pull it off. Oh. There's the clanging pots and pans. Whoops. There we are. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream show, everybody. I am Nathan. It's nice to see everybody. Whoops. One of the reasons Donald Trump loses in a long enough timeline is he's exploiting people. Donald Trump is exploiting people when he's saying that you have to accuse all Democrats of being cheaters in order to win a political talking point. This is exploitation. Yeah, this is exploitation. Yeah, and the statistic you were supposed to quote, yeah, Grandies, I would go watch the Michigan speech Trump gave like I did yesterday. Like I watched the Michigan speech. If that's good for you to be involved in these types of discussions, there's always these cognitive dissonance points where it's very possible that something that we perceive as good for us or good for someone else actually also is simultaneously not great for us. So we're taking some of the damage for hearing MAGA talk about immigration and immigrants in a way which is dishonest, in a way which isn't true, and in a way which dehumanizes and depersonalizes relationships we have with other people. So Donald Trump told us we're supposed to be talking about the Democrats being cheaters, and we're supposed to be talking about all the illegal foreign homicide suspects in the United States. Neither of these points justifies the SAVE Act or the ICE expense. There's nothing intrinsic with either of these statistics that justifies Donald Trump's plan. And if you want to know why, well, you'd have to end up talking to some Democrats, including Democrats that argued to defund ICE. That ICE was basically a tool for neoconservative presidents. It is not a legitimate part of the US government. Orders for thee, but not for me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, And I would love to hang out with conservatives making conservative points. Will, I think you have to downsize some of these ideas. Yeah. So, and I'll just close on this. If you want to come back tomorrow, subscribe, like, let's work on how we're able to communicate with each other. I'm a he, him, by the way. And one of the things I would encourage you to think about or encourage you to consider is, whoops. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make it a little fancier in here for us. Yeah. Do you still have audio? Hopefully you'll have audio. But I'd encourage us a little bit to consider why not consider the idea that what you see as cult-like behavior isn't a totality about a person. It's not like over a person. We're not hanging a person on one idea or something like this, like a Sims character, And so if somebody uses the language of accuses someone of being in a cult, I think immediately they're trying to silence that person. Yeah, it was a good debate. Fancy. Audio is good. Good. Yeah, we like a little atmosphere, a little fanciness. Why not? Real men do cry when he lost his lands, I guess. Zach's sick. I don't. Yeah. You guess. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's your opinion, Zach. I think a lot of people would be interested in understanding the history of land, of property rights, of property ownership, where that used to live, why it used to be like an oligarchic, or there was a landed aristocracy and things like that. And so when you say real men cry, I couldn't begin to fathom what it means. Is it farmers renting agricultural lands? Is it, farmers renting arable land? Is it the person? Is it a researcher trying to track arable land, or who is it exactly? But I think we do have a similarity there. If we're looking for things that create human attachment and decouple from being political because it becomes so subjective that you can't even have your own belief represented. I think we'd have a shared interest in that topic, learning more about each other and learning how we can support one another. After dying, debate seems so little. So is Christianity, for that matter. Interesting. Yeah. And if you have a different interpretation, then that's also, we're able to have that conversation. I just don't see a world in history where you have like a nationalized talking point about being tied to the land. That is just, it's one size fits all. This is going against the president too. The president is telling you that having enough ICE agents, having these Trump savings accounts, making sure these Oxford, these Ivy League schools are afraid of the government. Donald Trump is telling you these things have to be interesting as well. Someone like J.D. Vance himself should have been in fear that his professors could teach him freely under Donald Trump. Is that not true, or that is true? I think it's true. Basic college. Yeah, we should have basic college. I wish people understood how great community college is. And it was also even less cost prohibitive. Maybe one of the best values we can get for our money as taxpayers politically is seeing that 2-year degrees that cost a few $1,000s can drastically help people explore the world, understand the world, build critical thinking skills. And yeah, it's a very blue collar mindset for a lot of the professors at these schools, a lot of the administrations that want to teach people effectively and provide that pathway to a 4-year degree. And yet understand their role in sort of the freshman, sophomore experience of an associate's degree. So who knows? Yeah, Steve is a conservative. There's a few others. There's a few other conservative folks, but yeah. And one of the reasons we attract conservatives on the channel as well, people that identify as conservative, is we're very open about discussions about religion, about politics. We're able to kind of listen and give Donald Trump his credit when he's doing things people voted for, but also not take it to an extreme. I try to think, again, the idea of attachment to a bias is something that's pretty powerful. You're too worried about one president and not seeing the real threat to America that's happening right in front of our eyes. I don't know what that would mean. I don't know what that means. You're asking me to make it mean something a little bit too heavy, I think, unless I'm misinterpreting that. Max has a PhD. Hey, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, Aaron bought my first cup of coffee today. Define nationalism. Do we want the actual definition? Bro can't do it. He can't do it. What did I lose? I lost something. I lost this. Yeah, just so we don't have one definer in chat. A political ideology and movement. So it's an ideology and a movement that places supreme loyalty, devotion, and allegiance to the nation states above all other individual and group interests. So it's like fascism, but with people. If you expand, so in some sense, based on the definition a little bit, it's very common and similar. Fascism, you don't have an individual identity. You just identify as part of the state, part of the organism of the state. And with nationalism, you're still an individual, but you say, well, these interests, there's a reason we build a big bag above our head for these things. An unemployed astronaut. Wow, that's pretty cool. Obsessed with hating Trump when Islamists are 50 years into their 100-year plan of taking over the West. Yeah, that was a point that was echoed. I would just mention that was something people talked about in the 1990s and 2000s, and we have not seen that apparate. We haven't seen that apparate. I went to school and was neighbors with a bunch of Somalian dudes in college. I'm not in Michigan, not in Minneapolis. And so seeing that most of the time there's people playing basketball at a gym is just the thing that it is, right? Oh, ooh la la. That's pretty cool. 2026, you need me a post text. Okay. Should we get some coffee? We'll do one more cup of coffee. Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how you would plan something like this. It sounds more so, more so when I think of a plan, I think of I don't know where it went, but Donald Trump's own words talking about a plan in the 1980s and 90s, wanting to plan to steal Iranian resources. To me, I think of as that is closer to a plan that's something I can spend time thinking about. Another justification that there is no Islamic plan is we can look in many states and we see both secular as well as Islamist versions of Baathism, of political justifications, economic logics. There's deep secular education in Iran and other places. And so you might have repression. You have either an autocratic, authoritarian, or nanny state in a lot of places, but you still have a lot of secularism going on. And the fact that we see press in places like Tunisia, where now political opposition is being jailed a little bit and stuff like this, and in Egypt we saw the Muslim Brotherhood being banned. This sounds like politics of poverty to me more than, or politics of lacking power. One, other, both, maybe a little bit more, right? But it sounds like those things more so than like a plan to take something over, quote. Why does Qatar, aren't we more worried about Qatar's involvement in Africa? Yeah. So my guess would be Qatar invests a lot, right? I don't know. You tell me why they do, right? Instead of asking a leading question that can only lead to one place, where I have to get myself ready to hear your answer, I would do it someplace else. I would do something else with it. Hey, Niv, hey, hello. Yeah. You can, it's very strange if Christians and Muslims had some tribal plan or some need to fight each other. Why wouldn't it have been the case that? Why was it the case that we had these groups that, like Al Qaeda, that were hunted? They were hunted and attacked by Arab governments, Arab state governments, and then also didn't represent the majority of the political ambitions or geopolitical positions of the Arab world. It was not the case, right? This is what a non-state actor is. It was not the case that Pakistan or Iran or Syria, Bashar al-Assad, who was friends with Russia, sent bin Laden to go attack the United States, right? You guys understand that? You guys understand that if there was happenstance coordination between states, if there was like Saudi intelligence services that were supporting it or something like that, then, who knows? What's the honest answer there? It's not as extreme or radical as some people are making it out to be. It isn't as extreme or radical as some people are making it out to be. During Bush, we killed so many. Adult industry is legal in New Zealand, can make legitimate income from exotic dancing and other more adult themes. That's pretty cool. Netanyahu coming to visit with Trump again. I fear we'll be putting boots on the ground soon. Netanyahu is in New York City, for those that didn't hear. Zohran Mamdani's expressed that he believes New York should be able to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu or any leader with an ICC warrant. He's there for Netanyahu funeral, for Lindsey Graham's funeral. Zelensky's also in attendance. So Lindsey Graham is maybe someone that represented the purse and American interests to some of these foreign leaders who have had a close relationship with them. So, but coming to visit with Trump again, I fear we'll be putting boots on the ground soon. And so with Netanyahu, I don't think he has a huge interest in traveling around the world. He probably personally has an interest in wrapping up these conflicts. Time would be for someone with an ICC warrant and who's had international pressure, time is probably going to be the better healer for him. Staying in the spotlight for longer and soothing things out. Who knows? Maybe there's a pathway there, but yeah. I wouldn't know. All religions are equal and need to be respected equally. Hey, that's a nice opinion. I tend to feel the same way. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Wow. That's too much coffee. Too much coffee for me. Too much coffee. Does my brain allow for God? Yeah, I don't have a particular problem with belief in religion or belief in God. Organized religion is a lot tougher for me to buy. Organized religion. And then I'd also say, yeah, it just depends on, maybe too much depends on the day. I don't understand what like a chill sesh, like a God and chill or Bible and chill sesh would look like, to be totally free to speak. Yeah. You guys can tell me though, stop quacking. Hey, there's me. Yeah, the channel is Ducks Y. I sometimes say quack quack. But yeah, the channel is Ducks Y. Yeah. Oh, I've been to Orlando. I've only been to Orlando in Florida. It's a very cool place. It's got a kind of peculiar, like, suburban feel to it, is what I remember about Orlando. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a foreigner reporting back after visiting someone visiting the US. Like I felt like a little Miami Vice feel in Orlando walking around. I got to go down to the Disney World outside part and stuff when I was there. I went to one of the giant Hiltons while I was there. The Panhandle close to Pensacola. Cool. Cool. Most of my opinions are based on shoddy info and assumptions. Cool. Nice. Can we be new friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Do. Hey, good to see you, Glow MP4. Shout out to you. Hopefully you're doing well. Glurbo, welcome back to chat. Good to see you. God is cosmopolitan and omnipresent. I like it. Oh, 90-day grind 989. Thank you. Shut your mouth. Hey, shout out to you. Let's get on with it then. Let's get on with it. Yes, bro. You want to talk politics, religion? These are all channel topics. Yeah. Ow. Shouldn't government be for its own people first? It depends. It depends how you do that, because I can say Glurbo doesn't have an identity outside of the government, and then you're for the government's for you, but there is no you, right? There's not really a you. So in a fascist, so as a floor, like fascism or strong autocracy and authoritarianism, there is no you really, not really. And so with nationalism, you can always ask, well, is there enough normal people stuff? Because our life isn't dominated by the government in all ways. And I would challenge anyone and say that even in the 1970s, where we started seeing the first strong inklings of China's rise, we still had intense competition from the Cold War. There were regional wars all around the world, proxy wars all around the world. Life still wasn't dominated at all times and in all ways by the United States, by being a member of the United States, or within 2 short decades being a European country, and in the 70s and 80s into the 90s, we saw more wealth being created in Europe. People forget this is only 20, 30 years after the Second World War and the Korean War. So there are many concerns, energy security coming from the Nordics, Russian energy, all kinds of stuff. So it's too sweeping of a topic for me to handle, but nationalism doesn't have to be a bad thing. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, student loans are really tragic. Student loans are tough for a lot of people. I don't support nationalism. I take things kind of personally. I don't support nationalism. Yeah, I don't either. That's a great point, Elizabeth. Congratulations. I'm indebted by student loans for med school originally. Thanks, Bob. I don't know how I would fix that for you. I look like someone pretending to be human. I see no soul in my eyes. Okay. Yeah, the Lindsey Graham funeral, I'm sure, is very sad right now, as a result of it being somewhat unexpected for Lindsey Graham to pass so suddenly. Obviously a very high stress job, high stress role. He was someone who was always in front of the camera. So yeah, I would eulogize Lindsey Graham. He was no Strom Thurmond. Cool. I'm scared about the rise of AI, but there's nothing I can do about it. Hey, Sia. Yeah, good luck to New Zealand and shout out to you. I hope you had a great morning here, and shout out to you. Take care. Have a good one. We'll see ya. Thank you. Yeah, AI is I think AI teaches people how to be smart researchers, but also how to find easy answers. I one of the things I learned in school was finding answers to questions over large stretches of a book or a text. So if you don't have to do that, how do you do it with AI? Well, you just ask and you get an answer. And so that's always something to kind of consider, think about. Yeah. Passionate in his resolve and had a strong work ethic. Yeah, here's the spirit of the day, right? Yeah. Hey, what's up, Starbrand Power? Great to see you. Excellent discussions. Ow. Ow. Lindsay was a true politician, unfortunately. Yeah, I think a strong voice for conservative issues, maybe slightly stronger Christian, national, neoconservative sides of some things. He was willing to play politics too. I think Lindsey Graham was willing to ride the current of the day, but also take a leadership role. That's one of the reasons he'll be deeply missed in establishment politics. Is you do have predictability, right? You have you have a fierce opponent. You also have a best friend or something, a fierce opponent. And so, yeah, very sad. Do stronger nuclear weapons create a bigger deterrence effect? I don't know what world you're painting. I don't know what world I'm walking into, if that's the right answer. For mutually assured destruction, yeah. What's the conditions of mutually assured destruction? It'd be mutually assured. Yeah. And it would be destruction in any sense. Yeah. So you're technically talking about primary, secondary, and tertiary strike capabilities being eliminated. And so if you say, so the impact wouldn't be on MAD, it would be between primary and tertiary devices, or primary, secondary, and tertiary devices. So basically, what you're talking about, Bob, is you're talking about, well, if you have a bigger nuclear weapon, the chance that it becomes relevant, you got a suitcase, you've got 10 suitcases or 100 suitcases, becomes less important. That may be true. That may be true, but then you also can consider, right, you're suddenly outside, just like the purpose of MAD is you're suddenly outside the scenario and you're wondering, well, is there anybody who is so upset or dumb enough that they're talking about this and they're willing to have, they're really talking about it? So I think it means a lot when you have when you don't have non-deterrence, non-proliferation talks. It means a lot when you don't have non-proliferation talks down to the level of hardware and supply chain. Yeah, it should be hurting quite a bit. It's very painful. It looks like it is, doesn't it? Doesn't it? We're going to be spending, what's the number? Globally, we're going to be spending 4, 5, 6 trillion on the military in the next couple of years. Yeah, so there you go. On the military of our civilization. There's no problem. That's allowed. You're allowed to think like that. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. We just chill like this, folks. Chill like this. All right. I have to use the rest. All right, we're back, everybody. Hey, see you, Aaron. Have a great day. Thanks again for the super chat. Appreciate it. Huge appreciate it. Whoops. We'll go ahead and end the poll. I'm going to start a gift goal as well. Guys, if you haven't given gifts on YouTube, they're a lot of fun. You guys can see the gift menu down at the bottom right of your screen. Appreciate it. Huge thank you for supporting the DucksY channel and sending a few cents for coffee my way. Appreciate it. But there's our poll results. So for people today that wanted to support nationalism, 51% said it was because of culture. Thank you. Breaking the seal on it. I appreciate it. 27% say peace. 13% say war. Oh my gosh, huge gifts coming through. Thank you so much, Pretty High. Appreciate it. And 9% say education. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very generous, very generous. Yeah, we are an audience-funded channel. And yeah, everything I do and you guys do here, the work I get to put in and the authenticity I get to bring to you guys is because of you. I don't care about nationalism. I'm here because you're handsome. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Thank you. Very nice thing to say. Very nice thing to say. Yeah. Yeah, I do think things like the aesthetic, like, whatever, I'm not going to get into it, but I think aesthetic fetishes are all fetishes still too. And the more fine-grained we make it, like there's a reason we have high fashion. There's a reason we've got Hollywood elites. It's because we're not supposed to be judging people by their looks or lack thereof, or like, right? That's what you're trying to avoid, right? We're trying to avoid. You should shave. You look homeless. Hey, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. My company made servers for Arizona a year or two ago. I wonder if Duck's internet goes through one of my breakers. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. See, Duck, you could lean on that attractive AF. Yeah, look maxing, guys. Yeah, let's look max in chat. You guys want to look max with me? Help me figure out how to do it. How do I do it? We got to look max, right? I want to be the first. I want to be the first voice streamer to break through the barrier where I can make like $200 a stream, where people take turns, right? In the feminist, the matriarchally dominated DucksY channel gifting space. People take turns sending $1, $2, $5 super chats, take turns sending gifts, and take turns sending the big magenta and red super chats and stuff like that, so I can pay my US bills. I'm in the US. I've got US bills, folks. Oh my gosh. Have some consideration. I've been doing this for 2 years. I'm doing my best. I'm once again asking for your support. Yeah, that's the nice part. If I was just this is how I know it's wrong. If I was just a handsome guy, and maybe I should be more like this. If I was just a handsome guy on the internet or something, I don't really believe that I am. I don't think like that. At least I try not to. Right? That'd be a bad example for people. But I wouldn't need to even worry about according to sources, right? According to sources, that's one of the funny lies about YouTube and about other social media is that, well, if you're attractive, you just get to be successful. And it's often put on women, right? If you're an attractive woman, you get to be successful. And like, I know those channels because I subscribe to some of them. Like, I'm not going to lie. But I know those channels, and I know that they don't go on forever. They don't go on infinitely, right? You can't just flip through your feed or subscriptions and have only beautiful women on social media. It's just not true. So I think people do bring value. You're Italian, so you know classical beauty. Cool. Congratulations. That's awesome. No shoot. Your conservatism is more and more baffling. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Aaron's a working man, though, right? Aaron's a working man. He doesn't want, I don't think Aaron, he, she, they, I don't think Aaron, he, I don't think you want, yeah, you're an enigma wrapped in a riddle. I don't think you want the man taking all your paycheck. I don't think you don't want me feeling entitled to having super chats and having money thrown at me for not adding any value. I'm not doing any of the work on the back end. I'm not working on the channel content. I don't care who's watching. That's how I think you're a conservative. And then I don't think you want me throwing out MAGA Donald Trump's messages, his politicians, his people. I don't think you want me throwing those things out because it exists, right? It's in reality. And so if you can't work around what's actual in reality, then what are we even working on here? Hotter than two nuns in a portable potty out. Yeah. I don't know what that means, but shout out to any of my former Catholics in chat. What up? What up? It's your buddy Ducks. And we are doing the thing. I don't like Trump as much as liberals do. A lot of liberals dislike Trump because he's told you you're not allowed to be that kind of individual. He said if you're that kind of individual, you're a cheater, you're a fraudster, you're amoral, you're trying to turn boys into girls, all these weird things that are just hate-filled and don't make any sense. And yeah, they're not things you could ever have a real conversation about, right? The real conversation you'd be required to have is about something else. It's somewhere else. So that's where our President Donnie comes in. That's where Donnie comes in. And just being someplace, right? I got to work on that too. Here's why I'm not that attractive of a person is I can work on, without making it all of my being and all depressed, I can work on just being someplace and not having to be, not dictating to others what it has to be like. What a way to ask for support too. For some people that can be so useful. A way to ask for support of just being someplace, just being a certain way, the way that people have been and trying to be that way and stuff. So liberals are smarter and more aware in this case, aware Trump is a cheap con man. Yeah, all the checks that Trump can't cash have a due by date. We were talking about this earlier in the stream. The due by date for Donald Trump and a lot of the other nasty stuff that he's done. It's stuff that spreads out. It impacts people he didn't identify, right? Calling liberals cheats isn't Donald Trump calling you by name. Calling liberals cheats, calling Democrats demon rats. This isn't calling you by name. This isn't talking about the systems that have been nonpartisan or bipartisan for as long as anyone can remember. There's nowhere this is in the Constitution. There's nowhere that our political theorists have compensated for this. Philosophers have thought about it. And it doesn't ask you to be a philosopher. It doesn't ask you to think about well-being. It doesn't ask you to be a Christian. It doesn't ask you if this is Christ-like. It doesn't ask you if you're a Muslim, if this is something that's compatible with Islam. It doesn't ask if you're Jewish, if this is compatible with both the history as well as the theology of Judaism. Donald Trump, basically, he wants all those things to just be assumed to be his, to be nationalized, because it's easier than getting out the Hoover. It's easier than getting out the vacuum cleaner, the dishwasher, anything, I don't know. All kinds of insistent stuff that, yeah, it's so tough. So tough. It's so tough. And still, if we're being spiritualists, we're thinking about detachment a little bit. We're still thinking a little bit about detachment. We're planning for the future. We're planning to be how we are, where we are, when we are. But these are all just major attachment drivers and stuff like this too. But yeah, these are things we have for psychological safety. So when we have things for psychological safety, what's the big purpose or point of it? Well, I don't know. Yeah. Hey, Almond, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. I just see it. It's just the case. It's just the case that we are at a point where we can have these really valuable conversations on social media. And, yeah, that means that we're having the conversation we're able to have. And it also means that these don't have to be big totalities, right? We're not trying to change the world in one conversation. We're not asking it to be like anything else and stuff. Just another stress response, I guess. So, okay. So what changes that? What changes when we see Donald Trump changing the messaging and now it's the next stress response? It's the next one. You created the two evil party to divide us. Thomas Massie for president. Yeah, good point. Good point. Good point. Yeah. The weird Buddhist truth is that we're of a form of emptiness, right? So here's a textual answer just for you. A textual answer just for you is that we're of emptiness. What a human is of emptiness, even though we're also humans, right? And so so detachment should help us be closer to seeing what something is, but it's not closer. It just is another way of it's another way. It's like saying your gas tank isn't empty, that it has the miles you already drove in it, but where are they? You can't see them. But that's why your gas tank is physically empty, is because it has the miles that you already drove on it. And the fact that you can't see it or it still looks like a gas tank doesn't change that that's what the gas tank is. And this doesn't mean anything to someone who's asking about an empty tank of gas. It doesn't mean anything to say that, well, my gas tank has the miles I already drove, right? You might think it does, but why didn't you what you're going to learn is just ask about where you've already been. Ask where the car has already been, where the car's taken you. Those are all things that you can ask instead. Detachment. Oh, cool. You ain't got no time for no therapy, no behavioral therapists or counselor. There it is. There's the great deal maker question. Yeah. I ain't ask about no doctor I ain't have already been to. No thanks. No thanks. Yeah, I think therapy is one of the least invasive and most successful mechanisms of treating behavioral and mental health and just the human condition, lots of things, right? Without pinning it down, right? There's a reason your insurer pays for it, and maybe a long-term or short-term reason people get value out of it, but that doesn't encapsulate it totally either. Help me learn a lot about yourself. Hey, congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah. Hey, Amine, great to see you. Shout out to you. Great to see everybody. I'll be right back. Okay. Mental health is mostly liberal. I don't know if that's a joke. What kind of joke that is? Yeah. Yeah. There's a huge sense of I think mental health issues being somehow being determined by gender. I think that's right. But it doesn't change the uniqueness of each person. There's still the uniqueness of each person. So yeah. Yeah, and I think the other part of this is, one thing some people might get out of counseling, or anything, right? Education, it could be about a job, is we think sometimes we bring our best selves, or sometimes when we're down on when just we're down on ourselves a little bit, we bring a worse aspect and it's all of us, or a better aspect and it's all of us. And counseling can help us see that there's always more than one narrative. There's more than one type of like without decohering our personality, there's more than one person acting and being. And so just acknowledging some of those differences can be a difference maker. I think the best thing for mental health that I can provide on the channel is addressing a little bit sleep, right? I think in the worst cases, just being able to sleep at some point is good. And then sleep, a little bit of diet, a little bit of walking. Walking can be a huge thing if we're able to go on even short walks. Especially when people are, maybe for a little older people that know what it's like to work hard, when someone is doing hard work, working hard on facets of themselves without obsessing over it, without it becoming a totality or something like that. Short walks and letting our body move, giving our brain some blood flow, right? It reminds us that there is that almost third person snapshot that just exists someplace where that person is just there like a lot of other people. There's not a bad or a good version of that person that somebody wants to see. I don't know. I'm probably going too far. I don't know anything about this stuff. So why do young American men support Trump? Yeah, good question, William Ray. I think people want something to believe in. If you support Trump in chat, you can let me know. If you support the president's wars, you can let me know. You guys like hearing about him on the news. You like hearing about all your money being spent. You can let me know. But I think, yeah, a sense of purpose and a sense of identity is very powerful. A sense of purpose and a sense of identity is very powerful. And yeah, that shouldn't, if anything, preserving commonalities we have it's important to not be attached to that, because there's lots of ways we can think about identity or think about our values that aren't kind of running into other people. Skylar's drinks for mental health. What's wrong with your nose? I didn't know if anything was wrong with my nose or my face, but shout out to you. Yeah. Thanks, Wallaby69. The relationship I have with you guys is I love hearing what you guys think. As we get to know each other, hopefully I can be a supportive, like whatever, not a net negative. And I try to work hard. My part of that, my context is just working hard, and that means something a little different every day. Yeah. Yeah, addiction is a horrible one to sever. Three, 4 locos a night. Wow, that's those are strong beverages as well. Yeah. Yeah, for people concerned about your drinking, you can always try to have half a beer, right? There's a litmus test, is what does it do to have half a beer and then just let it work and then stop drinking for the night, Cool. I don't believe I'm an addict, but okay. I don't know. I could be. Happy to try. God loves you and sees you. Grow closer to him, because see that started off nice and then became very like a mandate or predictive, Bella Alt. You said God loves you and sees you, and then very quickly jumped into grow closer with him, because he's the one that can save you from complete addiction and replace it with life everlasting and steadfast love. Yeah. Yeah, it's so hard. It's a rock and a hard place, I think, for some people struggling with addiction. And I'll just mention there's YouTube channels and online resources dedicated to addiction. This isn't one of those places, just to be very clear, crystal clear. But yeah, there's this side where it's an impossible task for someone to be constantly on top of what maybe your brain is telling you, what your will or your desire is to go do. If you're not at that point where you can manage an addiction daily or something like that, I think I don't think theological advice is helpful for it. I would say, there's probably plenty of people who kept drinking or using or whatever, who told God will look out for them. Maybe he did. Maybe God did in the best way that they could, but that's not the same thing that God's only concerned with for those folks too. Just going home. I'm not going back to the office today, so I'm not going home tomorrow. I just have something for the week, I guess. Shout out to you, Wallaby69. 40 years old, never consumed any alcohol. Hey, good for you, Gold Sniper 10X. Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, I think sober living is a great idea, a great thing for people to do. Yeah. Having a focus or clarity or something. And then, sometimes what that gets us back is if we see ourselves as healthier members of the tribe or more fit, we tell a story that we have higher fitness than others. To me, I think that puts us back into the social pyramid and asks, well, hey, what do we put back? What do we put back for having the fortune and the abilities of being well? The best thing that suits my soul best is living in the moment. Wow, I'm very calm and collected, and people are very impressed. They ask how I manage it, and I'm so calm. I tell them it's not the end of the world. Yeah. Yeah, Amine, whenever Amine is commenting on posts and stuff, I don't, some of it's translation, but even when a message doesn't seem for me, someone else is going to read that. And so I think seeing that all of the best side is that very present sense that anyone strives to be in a moment, and all of the other side is like maybe not caring what other people think, and it's also that, even at our worst, most people don't incur judgment or something like this, something, so whatever, those things are both present. Those are both present judgment, saying that there is no judgment really, saying that there is no judgment really. Rec plug. Hey, what's up, rec plug? Yeah, of course. There you go. Great to see you. Yeah. We're all judging for sure. What up, Sticky? Yeah. Hey, Steve. Yeah. If you got any of them jobs, Steve, let me know what jobs are available and whether they're good or not. No, I love spending time with you guys. I'm telling you though, making $6 an hour, I'd rather be making $21 an hour if I could, financially and the whatnot. And so, hey, I feel like if I can, for folks that are struggling with a job or whatever it is, struggling, right, where, yeah, keep a positive attitude and just be here. Just being here, I think, is useful. I try to detach from my own difficult circumstances that I have. So, and yeah. I saw these AI robots that attack malaria mosquitoes. They're making these drones that just fly around, and they're really good listeners. These drones can hear mosquitoes, and they track them with LiDAR, basically. They track them with the hearing with radar or something like that. Hey, what's up, Chuck? Great to see you. We got Chuck in Tennessee. He's a legend in these YouTube streets. So it's really great to see you. Yeah. Hey, they shut down our Home Depot working spots. Chuck, you got any of them jobs? Chuck, you got any of them jobs? Your boy Duck is in need. Yeah. I'll gift you the race car gift if you show us throwing out the vape. I would be being dishonest. Yeah, I would really much appreciate any generous gift. Goes hugely far for me right now, hugely far. But I'd be being dishonest if I just threw out the vape and said I was never going to use it again. I'm unfortunately going to. So I don't think I'm a robot. I try not to be a robot. I try to be a person and feel up like here. Yeah. Mowing yard. Yeah. Hey, awesome job, Steve. Awesome. Awesome job. Yeah. Shout out. We all chilling. We all know it. We all know it, whatever it is. As far as you guys can. Yeah. Yeah. Just a pointer, be careful when dealing with Talcott. Hey, Cyberdome, great to see you. Great to see you. Oh, man. Yeah, I want Jack to be well. I want Jack to be well. I appreciate Jack. Jack's helped me get over some barriers, but I know Jack's there to help a lot of different people in his goal to talk for Donald Trump. So I can support him because Chuck, you and I disagree on a lot of politics stuff, but Jack and I tend to agree on some of that stuff, and we tend to agree at least that change is possible, conversations are useful, and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna be watching out. I'm gonna be watching out. I got to protect myself. I'm a millennial. I'm a fragile liberal millennial soul. Mm, that's how it is. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Chuck. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. Oh, I don't know how the message got deleted, but thank you again for the super chat, Chuck. It's very generous. Thank you for the sparkles. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't think you're a hateful person. I came into the panel verse a little bit hot. That some of the places I've been, I've got a reputation about me. Thank you again. Thanks, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, it's all good. It's all good. Chuck and I know each other. Yeah, I don't think we can undo it after it. Yeah, Chuck, your message got deleted accidentally. So apologies about that. I came into the panelverse kind of hot, judgmental, not understanding stuff, not understanding myself, a little bit out of pocket. And so I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, Chuck. I'm trying to create a space where I can just talk and people feel okay. I didn't know you came from the panelverse, lol. Yeah, yeah. I used to spend time on the Raging Tomatoes, the Powdered Dusties, a couple places. That's why you remind me of Destiny. Yeah. I've been on panel with some of the bigger streamers, people that have now kind of hit their stride. Ryan Mullally, some of the Orthodox guys, Wick. I've spent some time on the same panels as them. I'm a nobody. I don't want to clout chase or claim clout that's not mine or anything like that. But yeah, yeah, we're high grade. Not every day. We're trying to Don't care about your reputation. Yeah. I don't mind on these mean internet streets. I don't mind, and so that's it. I just worry about stuff. Yeah. Yeah. People that have seen me on panels and stuff know that I'm one of the guys that's willing to go out front and be more honest. I think Chuck's willing to listen and be honest and pitch in and stuff like that. I'm just always kind of cruising out. Hey, thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. I want that to be a topic that we can discuss here as well. Finding this is one of those weird things is it's so hard to find like convergement of like and like, so Chuck, when you find people that are like you, those people might help you with your own mindset as well as needs for something that's like recovery. Seeing yourself in someone else can help you find, instead of saying that, well, we're going around with a fine tooth comb or tweezers, we're finding triggers and stuff like this. Instead of doing something like that, we're just saying that, hey, there's another person like me and they reflect some aspect of myself here, right? Not doing anything with it, not, and yeah, but it's YouTube. So you guys know we obviously have a limit. There's the things we can do super well and the things we can't do. So there you go. There we go. Yeah, and Destiny does a lot of the high flying stuff. That's a big difference. Destiny goes and one of the things why I disagree with the president and I disagree with Destiny as well is they do the high flying thing where it seems like they're talking for a lot of people. I don't agree with that entirely. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but sleep is the big one, sleep and things like that. Looking for recovery and healing. Similarities with others does wonders. Look for positive and therefore receive positive. Yeah. Being stronger and bigger than it. You know, hey, there's the real, maybe when we think of like the woke left or something, that I know I just don't consider myself part of that ideology. But when we can truly rise above some of the negative language and speech, maybe there's the toughness or something that people are a part of. People are a part of cultivating and instilling that sort of deal, right? I've certainly reflected recently. You guys know I don't come around all that often in the Panelverse anymore. A lot of it was too much to handle, the socialness and things like that. And yeah, I've reflected on ways I've judged unproportionally or unfairly and things like that. And yeah. I hope you find a life partner who understands you and appreciates your vulnerable side. I wish the same for myself. Yeah. I hope people can find happiness with their relationships, and yeah. And I am in whatever, mentally, I feel the stress of the modern era. I feel the stress of modern life, and I don't want to play the victim card anymore. I'm sick of it. So I'm just going to be here and hang out, and I'm going to hang out and let some of it ride, I guess. That's who I am as a person now. And that's who I'm going to be. That's who I'm going to be. I wish you a large property with beautiful landscaping. I wish you small business success. I wish you small business success. Hey, see you, Aaron. Have a good day. Yeah. Those radical, the far out conversations don't change what something is. Maybe that's a point of resilience I can focus on for myself. Those far out points don't change what something is or must be or can be or should be. Those are important points. Telling ourselves stories doesn't change what something is or has to be. It doesn't help us rise above or fall beneath, a message personally. Yeah. We got to thicken those up a bit, thicken them up just a little bit, a lot bit. Yeah. I realize that no matter how much success you achieve, it doesn't mean anything if you don't have someone to share it with. Yeah. Lovers of fate. Yeah. There's people that are here to read and listen, and over time, sometimes the context becomes good context becomes more clear. I would see it again as both sides of the same coin, like a balance, is that with someone else, sometimes we share context that isn't good or bad. And then sometimes we share, sometimes there is good context and we want to share it. We want someone to know it. And that's useful too, right? That's useful too. So, yeah. All right. I got to go. I got a phone call I got to make. I'll talk to you guys all later. Thanks again, everyone who super chatted. Thanks to the mods. I hope you're having a good day. Hopefully you guys are getting out and about and around a little bit. And I hope you all find a little bit of success. And I hope that any of the positive things that have rummaged up in terms of politics, theology, religion, philosophy, I hope those things are meaningful for you. Have a great day, and I'll talk later. I'll see you all soon, hopefully. I'm not going Bigfoot. I'm not going Bigfoot to whoever just asked. Should I stay on? Should I stay on for a few minutes? Yeah, I'm keeping the beard. I'm keeping the beard for now. Yeah, I like the beard. You know, it is what it is. We going live. We doing it big time, you know? Yeah. So I appreciate all of you, and I hope you guys are all having a great day. And yeah, have a good one.